Good evening, board members. I'm Howard Hammer, an active involved community member, 50-year resident in Plymouth Township, commercial property owner, business owner also. Over the years, I've met and engaged with all of the board members except Ms. Buckley. This could jar memories for some. Due to my schedule, I either in person or via video followed the Northville Downs Plymouth project from its start at the Planning Commission. I have a private practice. I'm a director of clinical internships at the University of Michigan School of Dentistry and director of the Victors for Veterans program. I'm glad to see the township stepped up. We've been treating veterans under 200% of poverty homeless for the last 12 years in 30 counties. So we're busy, and we continue to be busy. I cannot give you my 7-page CV in 3 minutes. I'm sure you can Google me and find out more if you'd like. I would like to return to the start of this project's history. I'd like to mention a quick definition in law of a prudent person. A prudent person is someone who acts sensibly and takes proper precautions to protect themselves and others. They use their knowledge and judgment to make good decisions. My question is, why would owners with an 80-year-old business history in Michigan with competent legal counsel buy a piece of property from a developer that precludes the intended use based on the zoning at the time? Racetrack was not included. Then plan to spend $25 million plus or minus to build on it. Is this a prudent decision by a prudent person? I suggest a prudent buyer would make this contingency purchase based on zoning variance, the planned unit development as you prefer to call it, and that would be a contingency purchase. I would like, in the spirit of transparency and truthfulness, 3 simple questions answered by the board and the commissions. 1, were any township individuals elected, contracted, employed, or representing the township in any way, in any discussions with the purchaser prior to or during the purchasing process? 2, was any advice, consultation, or any form of help outside of normal application processing given? And 3, is the land on a contingency sale? We have a board, and our board had a mission statement, helping members succeed. My question to you is, how does this help Plymouth Township succeed? We are anticipating your responses to these 3 questions prior to the vote on that agenda item. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you.
I'm addressing the brownfield property again. I know you don't want to answer any questions about it, but I'm addressing it again for 2 primary reasons. 1, the safety of any and all people and animals that use this property, and 2, financial liabilities associated with the development of the property for which premises are being made that this will not cost township taxpayers anything. Let me reiterate, this is a gambling facility with little live horse racing. In fact, it is public knowledge that in 2022, 96% of all wages being placed at Northville Downs were placed on simulcast races. Second, actual breakage fees in 2022 were only $180,000, far less than the $250,000 being claimed for Plymouth Township. State Bill 411, currently in committee, will allow Northville Downs to create a temporary gambling facility to conduct simulcast betting prior to a track being ready. This bill also wants anything associated with state negotiations in this industry to be exempt from FOIA. I wish Senator Baird was here because we cannot let this bill go through. And there still remain significant questions about the contamination of this property. Jim Harless, upon retiring from SME, the company involved in the testing of these properties, is on record as taking minutes for the MITC Brownfield Authority. Therefore, I do not believe he is an unbiased consultant to assess the status of any brownfield properties. The Board of Trustees should require that Harless be replaced with an unbiased consultant, one that is not selected by Supervisor Heisey. So contaminated or not, there can be no question about the status of this property, since it will be a public venue. Therefore, it must be tested. Last, I'm questioning the cost associated with the development of the brownfield properties, since they were developed several years ago. I am assuming that the board knows that the state does not allow any brownfield funding for gambling facilities. In this agreement, it needs to be clearly stated that the Plymouth Township taxpayers will not bear any costs current or in the future for development or repairs associated with any of the brownfield properties or required infrastructure. Bob, as Township Treasurer and designated contact with the State Department of Eagle, I will schedule time with you to go through all correspondence with Eagle, as well as run through the related costs and how they are going to be paid and reimbursed. And if they are not brought forth, I will submit a FOIA. It is this board's fiduciary responsibility to safeguard the residents of this community, not only from being exposed to potentially harmful contaminants, but also from potentially harmful financial obligations that will put this township in a bad position, similar to Huron Township with the Pinnacle Racetrack. Finally, Wayne County property records do not show who is the owner of this property. Since purchase was supposedly made back in October 2022, there should be a record, as this is publicly available information. Bob, I'll want you to have proof when I meet with you of ownership of this property. Board, you have a responsibility to clearly understand all the risks associated with this development and any other developments in the township. Make sure you know what you are voting in favor of prior to making that vote. Ignorance will not be an acceptable excuse for your favorable vote if harm comes to this community and its residents.
Other questions?
My name is Joyce Janke. There's no mic up here, is there anything?
Speak loud.
Okay. I just wanted to, I brought a prepared speech tonight, but I'm going to save it for another night. I just wanted to talk a little bit further about those 4 bills that have been introduced in the Senate. As you may or may not know, the horse racing bill of 1995 states that the state has the policy of supporting the horse racing industry. They have asked for appropriation to for getting that for getting the sections of that bill in place. These Senate bills, it looks like the legislature is getting into the business of Northville Downs. They specifically are talking about, as the previous speaker mentioned, giving Northville Downs, they can simulcast without a track. They are removing caps from the funding that Northville Downs would normally get. Right now, it's capped at about $3 million from one fund, but they are uncapping the amount. And this is only what I surmise, that Northville Downs needs the money to stay in business. It looks like the casinos are going to stop the historical horse racing machines, so money's got to come in somewhere. And what really is disturbing, and I believe the previous speaker mentioned this, is that the bill has also included language which will keep all racetrack licensees, either reviewing or investigating, if you have a current license or you don't have a license yet, to keep it confidential. Everything. They go into detail about all the paperwork that would be that is written in Bill 411. So it's just very disturbing that the legislature has their hand in this, and it would behoove township residents to know that these bills are out there. Again, Senate Bill 411, 412, 413.
Are you saying that historical horse racing is currently
I'm in opposition to the track. And one of the issues that we've had has been about traffic. And we've gone over it a lot, and it seemed like the board is saying that, you know what, we're gonna get money from the state, we're gonna have $10 million, and we're gonna expand 5 Mile Road into 3-lane, as if that is gonna solve the congestion. When in fact, there are many studies that have shown it does just the opposite. I have one here that I just want to read to you real quick. You can Google things. I've talked to traffic experts. It's a fact. What's up with that? Building bigger roads actually makes traffic worse. The concept is called induced demand, which is economists speak for when increasing the supply of something, like roads, makes people want this thing even more. Though some traffic engineers made note of this phenomenon at least as early as the 1960s, it is only in recent years that social scientists have collected enough data to show how this happens pretty much every time we build new roads. So don't think just because you're going to put 3-lane highway in on 5 Mile that it's going to take care of your congestion, because it will not. It's kind of like the movie The Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come, and that's what exactly is going to happen to these roads. The other thing is pari-mutuel betting. I don't know what you have in your contract, but is your thought that the pari-mutuel is strictly for horse? Because pari-mutuel is not just for horse racing. There are many different sports that fall within that. It's a whole different category of bettors. I'm not sure if you're aware of that. I would ask you if you are working on a contract to make it strictly for a horse. There's a whole lot of other sports that are involved in pari-mutuel.
Just for your edification, I just found Senate Bill 411, and I just forwarded a PDF to all the board members and to Kevin Bennett. One question I have for you, how long have you been collecting the petitions, the Stop the Racetrack petitions?
Why would you ask me that?
Well, I mean, answer your question, I guess.
Well, I guess I don't know why that's important.
Well,
ever since I guess that we've been involved with
it's
this.
on all your flyers, and it's on now on the signs, the lawn signs. I just haven't seen any petitions yet. Chuck, have you seen the petitions that have been signed by residents?
No.
No, I haven't. Has anybody else here seen them? I haven't. I just want to know where the petitions are. I think when people sign a petition, they expect that it's going to be presented at some point to the governing body, because you have a First Amendment right to do that. And I think when people sign petitions, they expect that at some point they're taking a stand, they're signing that in good faith, and they expect that that's going to be presented to the government. And so I just want to know at what point are we going to see the petitions.
Okay, why don't we do an exchange? Since we have about 20 Freedom of Information Act requests in, we will give you that information at the same time when we get our information.
Okay, so the people who signed the petitions, I don't think they understood that there was going to be a quid pro quo for that. I think
Kurt, who signed the petition?
I think they signed it in good faith. So,
What he did.
no shouts. Okay, I'm just curious. Thank you. Okay.
Find horse racing exciting and they enjoy it. Please don't make a blanket statement like that. I personally find the symphony boring. I know a lot of people enjoy it, but to each their own. Everybody's different. I'd like to address some of the major concerns that I've heard from the opposition. property values, the current track in Northville has certainly not decreased property values there. The St. Lawrence Estates condo development was built on former stabling area, and it's kitty corner from the track. When that development was built, they sold out as fast as they could build them. So it certainly hasn't hurt property values in Northville. Gambling, anyone can gamble nowadays on a cell phone or computer, so it's not a valid argument that they're against gambling in the township. Animal cruelty, racehorses are athletes just like human athletes. We don't force them to race. That is what they're bred for and they enjoy doing. At the first planning commission meeting, our Michigan Farmers Horsemen Association president, Tom Baird, invited anyone to come to the farm which he manages at Curtis North Territorial Perfecta Farm to see how we care for our horses. Nobody's ever came to see it. But horses are our livelihood and many times like part of our family. That's why they're well cared for. The breakdown statistics that people like to cite in their testimony is for thoroughbred racing, not standard racing. Our harness racing has a 4% of thoroughbred breakdowns.
You gotta wrap it up.
Okay. Alcohol, the track is open from 11 to midnight. Most bars and restaurants are open from 11 to midnight, same thing. So I don't think there's any more risk of impaired drivers coming out of the track than there would be from any bar or restaurant in the township.
All right.
Just,
wrap it up.
Okay. For those whose objections involve zoning issues or communication problems.
Hi, my name is Ann Van Wyden. I've been a resident of Clinton Township for 20 years. And I know that we don't have the petition put together yet, but my understanding is we only found out about this racetrack, Mr. Heisey, most of us on the news on February 15th of this year, 6 months ago, including, I believe, some members of the Board of Trustees here. So there isn't much time to really get it all together, and it's been slow in getting the information. So I'm concerned that the Kyle brothers may have provided campaign funding for some members of the board, and I think that there needs to be transparency, because if there has been any campaign finance funding, then there are expectations. Harness racing, from what I can see, is a dying industry. I believe that the commissioner, his name William, whatever, has come up and quoted Bill Ballinger that harness racing is really a dying industry itself. And what happens if the racetrack fails as a harness racing track? What's planned to? What happens next? It's a designated gambling facility. Does it become a casino? Does it have slot machines? And finally, I just feel that a gambling facility in Plymouth Township is not right for our culture, morals, or township values. Thank you.
My name is Kurt Warbath. I've been a resident of Plymouth Township for 17 years. As you can tell from my sticker, I'm absolutely opposed to this. I see absolutely no benefit to the people of Plymouth Township for having this facility. A couple of speakers ago
Sir, we just ask that you address the board. Okay?
a couple of speakers ago addressed gambling and said that this is going to increase gambling because gambling is so available. That's a great reason not to do this, because you can sit at your phone, you can sit at your computer and gamble 24 hours a day. You don't need another facility to gamble. And number two, this is such a great idea for the people of Plymouth Township and surrounding area. Put it to a vote. Put it on the ballot and let us vote on it. The commission has the authority to do this. But if you want to be responsible to the people of this township, you need to allow them to make a decision like this. This is a huge decision. And it's going to irritate a lot of people in this township. If you have me elected onto this commission, I think I expect you probably won't in the future. That's personally my opinion, and I will summarize this to say, Mr. Heisey, I voted for you, but I will not be voting for you again.
Okay, who's next?
My name is Stacy Romine, I'm a township resident. I never plan to come on top, but after comments, it spurs me on to a couple of thoughts. Traffic has come up as an issue with the last two major township development proposals with the Racetrack and with the Meyer store. And as I've sat and listened to this discussions and proposals for those, each of those comes up independently as we've looked at a traffic study for Meyer, we've looked at a traffic study for the Racetrack. My understanding from these meetings as well is that Northville Lumber is moving into the area, and there's also a charter school moving into the area, if I'm not mistaken.
No.
Ivywood?
Not in the 5 Mile Ridge area.
That's much farther south,
That's further
south
south.
of Northridge Church.
Oh, okay, good to know, thank you. I misunderstood that one. My question is that as these come up, these proposals come up, it seems as though they're evaluated independently. And as you look to bring additional businesses and ventures into the area, how are these considered together? So you have Meyer who came in, I think they said 3,200 visits a day for customers for that property. The Racetrack, I don't remember what the number was that's being proposed. Northville Lumber, what's the number there? So as we evaluate the traffic, are those studies looked at in consideration together at all to add these together? Or is one allowed to stand alone and then the other stands alone, and then before you know it, you get an additive effect that's unexpected?
Okay.
All right, thank you.
If you're a resident of the township, usually analytical guy, I'll talk about this or that. I'm concerned about things like regulatory compliance, government stewardship. But today I'm just going to talk about living here. A whole parade of people have talked to you over the last 6 months about living here. All ages, all backgrounds, a lot of different perspectives. You've got a pretty consistent message. Most of us don't come from here. Most of us came here because this is an idyllic place to live. We wanted to live here. When I got out of the Navy, by the way, thank you to Naval Academy grads. Good work. The reason we came here was it was an idyllic community. Now, I know some of you guys are strongly in support of the racetrack, and I mean, that's your right. But the system's supposed to be such that folks have their government reflect what they want to do. The numbers right now is that I know you're trying to figure out how many people are against doing this. I've done anecdotal work. I've talked to a couple of people. First of all, when you started off, 90% of the population didn't know about this. They didn't know about it until February. And I went around because a couple of you have said that the racetrack is good, and you might be right. So I went and talked to a lot of people, a number of other people in the community that did as well. In addition to finding out first that 90% didn't know, once they did know, about 80% of them were against it, many strongly. The issue is that the reason they're against it is, for the most part, they like their idyllic community. If the racetrack goes forward, they're going to blame somebody, and the candidates for being blamed are you guys. Now, Plymouth Township, it's a privilege and a pleasure to live in Plymouth Township. There's a reason most of us came here. Some of you guys on the board get that, and the folks in the community really appreciate that. I'm not sure if some of the other folks on the board get that, or may not care. I mean, that's their right, like I said. But it would be terrible for Plymouth Township to end up like any number of other southeast Michigan communities that used to be good places to live. So please don't support Plymouth Township.
Swan, I lived in the township for 25 years. If this racetrack is such a good deal, why is Northville sending them packing to us? If it was a great deal, they would have kept it. They've got plenty of room on the north side of 5 Mile, west of Ridge, to have put that racetrack on their side of 5 Mile. Obviously, it's not such a good deal, or they would have kept it for themselves. They wouldn't pass something on if it's a super deal for them. So, please, remember, it was all the people of Plymouth Township that elected you, not the Carlo brothers.
Yes.
Thank you.
I've been a property owner here in the township for about 17 years. And I can honestly say, as most people still even in the township today, don't even know about what you folks are up to. I think we need some transparency, and I think a lot of people that have spoken have talked about clear transparency. And I've heard a lot of people ask questions as to what the benefits are to Plymouth Township. I've heard from none of you at these meetings what the benefits are. It's time to get some transparency here. You need to put this on the ballot.
Yes.
You need to represent the people that voted for you.
Yes.
About what the benefits are to the township.
Yes.
I'm going to ask one question right now, loud and clear, and I hope it gets televised tonight somehow. What is the benefit to the board members? We know there's all kinds of things going on here.
It's our time to talk.
All right?
We're personally benefiting from as a board member. It's not how it works.
Right, that's not how it works.
Okay.
That's not how deals are done. Right, that's not how business and corruption works. Thanks, and I hope to God you say your prayers at night.
Wow.